Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. We're down here in the Barbershop studio. Tonight is a very special occasion. We have, not only do we have Jarrett Carpenter down here, but we have Diego and John Shimer, Mr. John Shimer himself, down in the Barbershop studio.
How come Diego didn't get a last name?
Because, Diego,
is he like a Pokemon? He just has like one name?
He just has one name.
Everyone knows him as Diego?
At least it's not, we didn't call him by his other name.
Well, he showed up, so now he's not Guillermo. He didn't Guillermo us.
I've reached my highest form.
You've evolved.
You've achieved your highest form of humanity. Thank you. Tonight, we're not going to talk about the Prem at all. That is in the past. Arsenal has a really good chance of winning. I heard John Shimer bet his entire mortgage on it, so hopefully that works out.
It's a third of the way through the season, and look, they're proving me wrong. That's all I have to say.
The best part about this pod is normally we speak things into existence, and John listens, and I'm sure he like breaks his phone or something. Tonight he's here, and he's, as of now, been silent.
He doesn't have to say anything. He's just reveling in the top spot.
The looks say enough.
Yeah, the looks say enough, even though this is an audio podcast, so that's a little brutal for our
Staring
listeners.
Arsenal daggers to all of us.
It's a weird position to be in where Arsenal is top of the table, Spurs are in fourth, respectively, and
yes.
Chelsea.
We're in eighth.
Like eighth, seventh or eighth.
Eighth, I think Liverpool, Diego's Liverpool's in seventh. Is that right?
And
it's weird. It's a weird dynamic.
Newcastle's in third.
There's a weird dynamic happening. I'm not sure how I feel about it. And
the dynamic is Arsenal and then oil. So,
well, yes. Oh, what you're saying is like second and third oil.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Sure, for sure.
And I'm sure Spurs, that's where Levy got all his money, low-key.
Yeah, I mean...
Pep would tell you that he's had more points this year than he has like the last 4 years at this point in the table, so he feels pretty good about where they're at.
It's actually, you know what? Let's talk about the Premier League just while we have you before we get into... Right now, if you had $1 million, so this isn't just you being an Arsenal fan, this is you thinking about your financial future. Are you putting that on City or Arsenal? Right now,
I have to bet all of my money.
You can't split that up. You have to bet the $1 million.
I can't keep any of that $1 million.
You don't keep any. It's a $1 million bill.
It's like roulette, basically. All right, except there's no green. Yeah, I mean, I told you guys at the beginning of the year.
There is a green. It's when Newcastle beats both of you. That's 1 in 50 or whatever it is. But
all right. I mean, yeah, I'd probably put it on City. They have one of the best team that's ever been assembled. They have two of the greatest teams that have ever been assembled, essentially. So it's like, it's not really a fair fight. And at some point, yes, and Arsenal is going to probably have to deal with injuries to a key player at some point. They haven't yet. They have a handful of key guys that are going to the World Cup after everything's been said and done in terms of roster call-ups and whatnot. I know you guys talked a lot about that earlier in the year. But like at the end of the day, Jesus is going. Martinelli is going. Saka is going.
Yeah, I think 10 players.
Shaka.
I'm not sure.
10 or 11 players.
Saliba ended up getting
Shaka's
called
going.
up.
Saliba's going.
It's crazy.
Matt Turner's going.
Matt Turner's going.
They have 11 players. I sent out a thing today. Arsenal's 11 players. One of the highest in the Premier League.
Same as Spurs.
Yeah, so, I mean,
same as Spurs.
It's not like those guys are going to be going and resting for the next month like Haaland, who's scoring 1 million goals and gets the next month off to just kind of chill. And
Saladas too. Too. Some of the big
I think there's like team camps. They stay in and train or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, it's like whatever.
Yeah,
but they just hang out.
It's not competitive soccer.
No,
it's not like they're going to get
rest.
You
get a nice little rest.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I know you guys talked about this probably about a month ago, where you thought a bunch of the Arsenal players weren't going to be. Well, they are. They are. So like, there's no break.
I think it's their form pulled a bunch of them up, like 3 or 4 up.
You guys have to agree, like their form is better than anybody in the league right now. That's why they're in first place. They're playing phenomenal soccer. And it's not that they have like the best players. I wouldn't choose Jesus as the best number 9 in the league. I wouldn't choose Martinelli or Saka as the best players in the league. I definitely wouldn't choose Odegaard as the best 10 in the league, or probably even in the next top like 5, honestly. But like, you put all those guys together and the way that they are playing together and for each other, like it's fun to watch. It's a really fun brand of football to watch.
There is something to be said about Arteta actually being there for 3 years and like gelling as a group. That's the one thing is like they besides Pep, he's basically playing a brand of Pep ball. They're the only team that has like a consistent coach
Klopp.
maybe Klopp, but he's out his 6th or 7th year.
Right, his 7th year.
His 7th year is every club where he falls apart.
They're also riding a serious high. Like when you're in that first place, when you keep winning, you take a knock, you're having a bad game. When you're winning, that knock goes away. You go in and out of the trainer's room. You're like, you know what? This team is firing on all cylinders right now. I can recover from this. I need to recover from this because you're on such an emotional high holding that first place position. Everybody's just firing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And to that point, like if you don't play and like you allow somebody to come in and take your place, like if Zinchenko is out for a while and then Tierney comes in or Tomiyasu and starts out playing you, then all of a sudden you might not be playing. Period. So like Arteta doesn't rotate his lineup all that much. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe has been an absolute stud the last year and a half, and he hasn't sniffed the field. I know he has an injury, but he hasn't sniffed the field in anything. Yeah. So
yeah, last season, the season before, he was so good, and Arsenal beat Chelsea, and he was single-handedly, he got subbed on and destroyed us. And I assumed, the story in my head was that he was going to start over Odegaard, but Odegaard right now, pound for pound in the league, is one of the better players in the league. I'm just so impressed with what he's doing week in and week out. But you brought up a really great point, Diego, that like when you're on that winning, there's incentive to get out of the training room, to get back on the field. People are pushing for you. Injuries feel different. So Arsenal are definitely in a nice winning zone right now. And I'm interested, as we all are, to see how the World Cup's going to change that, because I think our mind says, okay, we're halfway through the season, right? World Cup's here. We're not. We're only 15 games in, so we're a third of the season. Like a little bit, it's like right around a third. So we're going to see what happens after the World Cup. But why don't we shift and get in the World Cup, because we have 8 groups.
Make one more quick point?
You can make one point.
I mean, Jeff brought up a really good point in that.
Wait.
Arsenal.
Jeff, the Spurs man, brought up a good. Write down the date and time.
There's a lot of good points I have. They just get overshadowed by.
Yeah, because when he turns to the body, he just like blacks out until he says something about Arsenal.
So it's something I've said to you guys for the last 2 years. You guys always talk about coaches that are on the hot seat, that are like should be sacked or could be sacked or would be sacked or blah 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 blah. Well, like I think I've said to you guys, even through thick and thin, when they were going through tough times at the beginning of last year, where they dropped their first 3 games and everybody was calling for Arteta's head. No, give him time. He's an excellent coach. You have to give him time to settle in. They finally got a couple of cycles worth of recruits into the team, and they still didn't even have their full team yet. You have to give coaches time to be able to implement their system, then implement their actual players. And that doesn't just happen overnight like that. Eddie Howe is kind of riding a nice little high right now, but, it just doesn't always happen like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, a club like Chelsea rides the roller coaster. Like, I feel like they could be competing for titles more often if they'd have given Tuchel a little bit more time. That guy came in and did a phenomenal, won the Champions League for them. And then all of a sudden they give him this whole summer to recruit players, and they struggle for like a month and he's fired. And it's like, okay, well, that's just what Chelsea does. After like 2 years, we burn out coaches. Like, it doesn't work very well. Like, they could be competing for titles more often, like Liverpool has done consistently over Klopp's tenure. Like, City's not fair, but Liverpool's a good example. They have a good amount of resources. They don't have a ton of resources, but they've allowed Klopp to implement his system. They've been one of the 2 best teams over the last 7 years, because they've enabled him to bring in players that he wants, and he's implemented his system of play, and they've done exceptionally well. Even going into this year where they've struggled a little bit, now that they're coming back around again. So that's my 2 cents. I think managers get fired too quickly too often.
The Tuchel dismissal was way too quick. If you look at when he came in the middle of the winter, and then he won the Champions League, and he went to the FA Cup final. Then the next season, he finishes 3rd behind City and Liverpool, which are the 2 juggernauts of Europe. And then the next season, like you said, he had a month, and then he was fired. And now Chelsea's backed itself into a hole because Graham Potter's not doing that great right now. But what are we going to do? Fire him? There's no one else. Even Unai Emery's got a job. So it's pretty dark out there.
It's like the only ones left is like Pochettino. That's like it. And, he's just biding his time to get rehired by Spurs. I mean, we're all just waiting for Conte ball to run its due course. And then we go back to Pochettino. But, yeah, like we need to pump the brakes on the manager firing a little bit. I think it's crazy. It's just these like gut or like just these like quick decisions and get rid of the guy, bring a new guy in.
That was big time Chelsea ownership, just new ownership, flexing the muscles. Just we got to come in, we got to make changes. And I think I texted you guys that day. I was like, what are the chances they're gonna that Tuchel sticks around for more than 2 or 3 weeks? If they drop points next week and the week after, how soon do people start calling for him to be sacked?
Yeah, it was crazy. After the Zagreb game, I was like, oh, whatever. When we lost our first two. We lost and tied our first 2 games in the Champions League. We took 1 out of 6 points. And everyone's freaking out. I'm like, we're still going to finish top. I don't know. Everyone's freaking out. We finished top. I think that the average soccer fan is way too knee-jerky, and it's a telenovela, and every week is like the end of the world no matter what happens. If we win, we didn't play well enough. If we lost, it's the end of the world. And the reality of it is over 38 games in a domestic league, we know where the teams are going to fall more or less with 1 or 2 spots. And it's just the teams that spend the money. You can literally track it to the money, almost to $1. So, but with that said, let's get into international football, which is also affected by inequality, but in different ways. And there's no better way than to start with Group A or Group A. And
I'm just gonna wait. So I want to.
Oh, do you want to share?
I wanted to ask a what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about each group.
Let's talk about each group, and then let's say who's the top 2 that are gonna get out.
And
then we can even go into a bracket situation, which is going to be fun because we do not agree on this where that's going to go. Situation. Joe Shimer.
I mean, no matter way you diced it, I always have my bracket going like, Belgium and England like on that side. Like,
can we get there? And then Can we get there? Can we get there? Who reads the last page first?
He's just clip noting.
God. Hey, whatever. Let's not even do this. I think it's going to be Belgium, England, and like Brazil, Portugal.
Argentina and Brazil on the other side.
This is a great book, but here's the ending.
Yeah, here's a great spoiler alert.
I know you guys reading the Bible. He dies.
All right. Group A. All right, go to Group A.
Can I do Group A?
I'll let you guys do your thing.
This is
your international
thing.
So
freaking brutal.
All right.
Group A. Or Group A.
Group A.
So you have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. This group is interesting.
Why?
To build some context.
Why is it interesting? It's not interesting.
Is this what you're going to do the whole pod?
Okay. Sorry.
Jeff, why do you think...
cut and dry in my side?
I think it's interesting from 2 to
there's
4.
Okay. All right.
Well, 2-4. What do you mean
2 through 4?
Okay,
2 through 4.
Yeah. I think we all agree who's going to be top of this group.
Who's top of the group?
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably likely. The reason why I say it's interesting is that Senegal has said that Mane is going to go.
He's not playing.
Then he's not going to go. Yeah. Now he's not going to play, quote, games. This is just Senegal trying to keep their country happy and positive going into the tournament.
Screwed.
Yeah. I do not think he's going to play. The other thing is you have Qatar, the host nation, who we know paid off FIFA officials in the executive committee to get the tournament there. And you also have Ecuador, which is docked points in the next qualifying of the next World Cup for basically doing cheating, or they had
a player that shouldn't have been.
They had a player that shouldn't have been on the roster because he was Colombian.
So basically, this is just the shiciest group.
This is the shiciest group.
This is the shicey group. I think Ecuador is probably the second best team in this group.
I would agree with that.
No, they are not.
Are they not Senegal better than them?
Senegal is hands down better than them.
Senegal without Mane?
Senegal without Mane.
Who's Senegal without Mane still has studs all throughout their lineup.
Is it like Premier League players and stuff?
They have Koulibaly.
Oh, that's true.
They have
Gay from Everton.
They have Toure. They have Mendy. They have...
I think in my bracket, I did pick Senegal.
So Ecuador's going to be an interesting one because I think Senegal and the Netherlands go in. But Ecuador is not a team to be slept on.
CONMEBOL, right? I don't know anything about CONMEBOL.
It's CONMEBOL. They made it out of CONMEBOL, which is brutal.
Jerry, you just a little salty that Colombia didn't make it in. That's 100%.
Let the salt fester into my wound, my open wound.
You're like when Ecuador was about to be like kicked out, right? You were like, yes, Colombia made it in, and we all had to remind you, like, no.
No, it wouldn't have been Colombia because it was Chile who said that they wanted. Chile finished behind Colombia. CONMEBOL is a shit show, but the thing I think we shouldn't sleep on is Ecuador is a very good team. Everyone will underestimate them. And Qatar's a host nation, and the host nations generally do good. They normally get out.
This will be the worst host nation that has ever. They will lose every game by 3 goals or more.
Mr. Positive. They normally get out of the group stage.
I agree.
The last time that didn't happen was in 2010 with South Africa.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to lose every single game, John?
I think they're going to get hammered. Not only do I think they're going to lose every game, I think they're going to get hammered every game because this is a team that's made up of non-Qatarians from that have basically been bought their citizenships there essentially.
Yeah. And
they're not good. They're not good players. Like and I also do think there's something to the extent of like teams like the Netherlands will want to try to embarrass them. I really think a lot of teams, based on what some of the FIFA officials have said, will want to go in and make an example of what a shyster bullshit situation this was at the end of the day. And the only way they can do that is by taking it out on the host nation. So
that is exactly why I think that this is an interesting group, because Louis van Gaal is gone out of his way, and he's going to take the Netherlands team. John, I think we talked about this. You said class move. He's going to take the Netherlands teams to go meet many of the migrant workers who help build the stadiums and build the infrastructure for Qatar. And I just think that there's just like the geopolitics surrounding this group especially are just heavy because the Netherlands are going to go out of their way. And I think they're probably going to get fined and do other things and wear different shirts that FIFA said they cannot wear, but I don't think they give a shit.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway.
They're going to do it anyways, especially against the Qatar, especially in the Qatar game. So I think Netherlands, we can agree on that.
Because the worst that's going to happen, they're going to fine.
They're just going to get fined, which is pennies in the dollar.
Let me just point out one other thing too. The teams are going to want to score as many goals on Qatar as they can as well, because goal differential matters.
Exactly.
So like that's your cupcake game. You not only have to win it, you got to pad the stats in that one.
So I think Netherlands go through. Mm-hmm. Are you guys in agreement Senegal go through even without Mane?
They could win the group. Even without Mane, they could win the group.
Senegal.
Like, yes, they're one of the best African teams that's ever been put together. They are loaded.
That's the one I'll disagree on. I think Ecuador will go through.
I think Ecuador will go through too. I think Ecuador is a sleeping giant. I think they had a really good.
I think they'll go through maybe on goal differential. It'll be probably tied.
Okay, so but we agree that Ecuador or Senegal are going to go through too.
You're hating on your homie Mendy, man. Like you really jumped off that train real fast.
I don't know enough.
He jumped off his own train.
I don't know enough about Senegal.
My G, if Kepa's starting over you,
Ecuador,
you've jumped off your own train. That's not. I can't help you with that.
A year ago, you were calling him the best goalkeeper in the world.
That's true.
Because
that's
FIFA
true.
gave him the best goalkeeper in the world award. I wasn't saying anything that was just based on my sole opinion. In the year that he won the Champions League,
how did he have such a big falling off though? Like how did he go?
I don't know. I think Senegal.
How did Kepa jump him in the pecking order? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's what I don't understand.
I don't understand.
No one understands. Kepa's sitting at home. He's like, I don't understand.
Well, he's got an injury, but either way, he somehow like jumped him in like.
But it doesn't matter. As soon as Mendy's healthy, should have been back. But let's not get stuck in the Premier League. I actually think that this is the one group, and I have to look at my groups. The awesome image I sent you. I know you guys love the high def.
No, I'm back on Google.
I
I'm on Google
actually
standings
think
now. I'm not even.
This European team may not go through. I think Senegal and Ecuador could go in over them.
Holy dog shit! Are you serious?
This Netherlands team doesn't have any good forwards. Tell me who their forwards are. Your boy
Bergwijn is the best forward out of that entire group.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
Depay's a good forward.
Depay and Bergwijn are better than any of the players in any other teams.
I forgot about Memphis Depay.
I actually heard a stat today that since they've been tracking since '86, they've been tracking, how World Cup teams are ranked as they come into it, and then they have a difficulty ranking for each group. This statistically is one of the easiest groups in like the last 30, 40 years.
For Netherlands.
For
like a high
just
rank.
In general. It's like the easiest group.
Yes.
So the U.S. years ago, and I don't know if it showed in this, but in 2014, they had one of the hardest groups because they had Portugal, Germany, Ghana, in the U.S. It was statistically the highest group at that point. Now, 2018's happened. Now we have this World Cup. I don't know. But knowing that it's the easiest group, I do think that this is a group where there's going to be upsets. I think Qatar is going to tie at least one of these games. Crazy controversy. The VAR is going to go out. The stadium's going to explode. John's going to lose his bet on that one.
Just read the names on this Netherlands team. Van Dijk, Depay, De Jong, Bergwijn, Wout Weghorst, Cody Gakpo, who could be literally the breakout star of this tournament because he's playing crazy.
Jeff, this is why I knew you were going to have something to say on the pod.
Simon, like this team, this team
so
is
loaded.
legit ballers. Dumfries,
Honestly,
he's about to go to the Premier League.
Dumfries is a beast.
Gakpo's pretty nasty in FIFA
I told
too.
you, like, going into this, they have the best back line.
Yeah, John said that they have the best back line, probably one of the most.
This is like a sleeper team to win the World Cup. Like this is a good team.
They're going through a golden generation. And nobody's talking about it. This is like Belgium.
I'm not saying
going into 2010.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that they're going to win the World Cup. I'm just saying they're going to get out of the group. That's it.
So this team reminds me, if it's that good that you guys think it's that good, could be like Holland in 2014. That team finished fourth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third. Excuse me, third.
Sure.
Right.
Third because they beat Brazil in the consolation. And we don't even think about them. So this team could go far in the
I
tournament.
remember that team. Yeah.
I do think, though, that Ecuador is being slept on. And I don't like anyone sleeping on my comable
Let's
teams.
just get to Group B.
Group B.
Group B.
Diego, you want to talk about Group B?
Group B.
Nah, let's skip it.
Let's skip it.
There's nothing interesting going
There's
on.
three
in Group
English-speaking teams. Fuck them.
Iran is no slouch, honestly.
They are. I don't know anything about them, but they're supposed to be good.
Yeah, they're supposed to be all right.
It's a toss-up. This is one of the ones that I said is going to be a toss-up. England and U.S., I'm not sure which one's going to finish first or second, but I think it's both of them. I don't think Wales or Iran can beat either one of them out. Honestly, England has the squad. They have so much talent and so much talent on the bench, regardless of how Southgate comes out with it. And the U.S. is just, I saw their lineup the other day, their proposed starting 11. They're going to make some noise in this group for sure.
So my biggest concern with the U.S. is actually two biggest concerns. They have a huge hole at center back, and they have nobody that scores goals on a regular basis. That is a huge, huge double problem. The teams that win the box on both sides of the field win, and they don't have players that are difference makers.
So it sounds like you're saying they don't have any defense or offense.
They got good players in the middle of the field.
So we're going to
McKennie
2-6-1. 2-6-2.
Adams.
The thing, and I'd love Diego to have this stat, is like, I look at this, and I also feel like this is a weaker group because the U.S. isn't really coming into this World Cup with firing on all cylinders, and yet I think the four of us feel pretty confident that we should probably get out in second, which I think tells that, like, you know, Iran's maybe not the strongest. I think that they will nick a point or two. Wales, they still have Gareth Bale, who I swear to God, he came on in the 190,000th minute in the MLS Cup and figured out a way to score. He scores goals in big moments for this country. And the U.S., I don't know. I still think the U.S. is going to win this group on goal differential with 7 points. I've said it. It's been said. They're going to tie England and beat Wales and Iran. Or beat England. I'm betting that they beat England, but.
So this is an over-the-hill Wales team. I mean, let's just, like, tell it how it is. I mean, their golden generation was 2 Euros ago, and that's when those guys were in their prime, and that's when they made their run to the semifinals, and it was incredible, and all of us loved it. It was also one of the ugliest tournaments I've honestly ever seen. There was a lot of ties. I mean, Portugal won the whole thing
and never won a game.
Never won a game.
That's how crappy it was.
But you know, the U.S. should be able to get out of this group. I mean, I don't care how good Iran is. You know, they're not great, and Wales is not that great. England could win the World Cup. They are that good. They're probably one of my 3 or 4 favorites to win the whole thing for sure. But the U.S. should get out of it, even despite all of my concerns, I guess is what I will say out of it.
I think the key to U.S. playing well is Gio Reyna. That's it. That's all I have to say. Because the guy,
Gio Reyna's health.
Gio Reyna's health. That's what I mean. Like, if he can play at, like, most of the games.
That's a scary, scary, scary proposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, we may need to send you to Qatar to align his chakras.
Yeah. He's never been healthy for a stretch of games.
Probably like 2 weeks. I don't think
so. I don't think so.
Like you said earlier, goal differential is going to be huge for this group. Yeah. Because obviously you're going up against potentially Netherlands or potentially Ecuador, Senegal.
Yeah, you want to avoid whoever's going to win that group because that team's going to be a beast or feel invincible.
Yeah, you don't want to go up against Netherlands, basically.
You don't want to go against Netherlands, or you don't want to go against Senegal or Ecuador, who's feeling like they just, they're riding luck and they're untouchable.
The only thing I can say about this England team is that they set up super poorly under Southgate because he just sets them up with like 7 defenders. He puts 7 defenders out there every game.
How could you say that? They just got to the final of the Euros and lost in penalties.
But they don't set up very... They don't score a lot of goals. This team does not score a lot of goals.
They also got to the semifinals of the World Cup before that.
It doesn't matter. They don't score a lot of goals.
Both things can be true.
Yeah.
Both things can be true. Okay. Jeff's just saying they don't lose games.
That's what
he's saying.
They
stay competitive until the end.
It's hard to watch this team sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm
really excited
soccer.
for them to sit. If they play 3 backs against the United States, 3 center backs,
which they will.
Oh my God, Aronson, Pulisic, and Gio Reyna over 90 minutes. There's going to be a red card in that game. Not even saying that England doesn't win, but I just think they're going to get super exposed.
Who are your 3 starting center backs in England?
Starting center backs?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're doing a 3-back, Gary Southgate loves Maguire, right? So you probably Maguire in the middle, Stones and Dyer.
Dyer's not playing.
No, who's going to play over Dyer? Because he's been having
Ben White.
Walker will play over him, or Ben White will play over him.
If Walker's healthy, then Walker.
But would you put Walker in the middle? I don't think you'd want him in the middle. You want him as a wing back.
No, I think Trippier is playing out of his mind right now. So
I want him on the field.
You can play Trippier as a right wing back or a left wing back.
If they're playing in a 3, and they're playing like a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, Trippier will be the right wing back. I think there is also a good chance that I think I mentioned this to you before, Jared, that Ben White will be the right back, Walker will be the center back, Stones will be the left center back, and then
you got Maguire in the middle there.
I actually don't. I have Stones and Walker as my 2 central backs in that, and then what's his name from Manchester United, the left back on that team, Shaw. Advancing forward, and then they become a 3-4-3. Defensively, they set up in a 4. Attacking wise, they set up in a 3 with with Stones, with Walker, and with Ben White, which is kind of similar to how Arsenal sets up, because Ben White typically does not go all the way forward. He kind of he has a little bit of freedom, but for the most part, he stays home as a central back.
If Gary attacks in a 3-4-3 and defends in a 3-5-2, they're so dynamic with that, they're going to be a problem in the tournament.
I don't think Gary's good enough to do that.
I don't think Gary's going to do that.
What you just said makes sense. Yeah, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, that makes too much sense,
He's
John.
going to put Harry Maguire in the middle of the field. He's going to put Trent on the outside, and those 2 are going to get burned.
I don't think Trent plays
all day long.
You don't think Trent plays, and you think Trent plays, Diego?
I think he does.
I think he does too, and I
think it might be their downfall.
I'm hoping all these things happen against the U.S. so we can beat them.
That's fine.
All right, so I will say this. I totally agree. If Trent Alexander-Arnold plays as a wingback for them, they're fucked. Like, they're fucked sideways.
Same with Maguire.
He can't play as...
Same with Maguire, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
When United don't play Maguire, they win games. That's it.
Yeah, no,
that's it. That's it. That's it. That
has nothing to do with Ronaldo.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Ten Hag.
I said to you guys before that how I said at the beginning of the year, how is Varane not playing at the beginning of the year?
I don't know.
And then all of a sudden they inserted him, and bam, they
won like 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row. Yeah,
Varane and Martinez are deadly together.
Yeah. I don't know if they lost a game together. Actually,
I don't think they did.
But hey, let's get on to Group C because we're only on Group B. I guess we'll finish out. U.S. and England go through. We're not really sure first or second. I would assume England go first. U.S. go second. Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. I don't see a way that Saudi Arabia get through, even with a game won.
Nope.
And Poland never gets out of the group stage. They always get destroyed.
Poland and Mexico are 2 of the bigger underachievers, I would say, in World Cup history.
Yes.
So it's going to be fun that they're in the same group.
Mexico's got an old team. They're
Very
taking
old
an old team.
Yeah.
So they're gonna struggle for sure.
I don't like Mexico. I think Poland.
Did they do something to you personally?
I also
all my former players will ask me the same question.
I also hate the Mexican team. There's Italy, Mexico, and Brazil.
I mean, if you're a U.S. fan, how do you not hate the Mexicans? Like it just as a national team.
Yeah, but see, that's
I'm not talking about the country. I'm just talking.
No,
about
you can talk about the country.
In this situation, I'm talking about their national team. I just want to be very clear on that. No, not only do I not like them as our arch rival, I'm talking about this specific team. You know, they've got some of their top players. I think Lozano's hurt. A couple of their other guys are hurt.
He is hurt, and I think he was the guy who scored against Germany, right?
Yeah.
2018, Chucky.
So like some of their top, like would be like coming into their prime guys are hurt, and then their other top guys are old. I'm gonna have to look up their roster real quick in terms of who they selected for their team, but like, what's his name on LAFC hasn't played for them in forever, and did they even
Vega?
Yeah,
Alexis Vega. They have Raul Jimenez. Who else do they have? Hector Herrera. Guardado is their captain.
He's still their captain.
Yeah.
Agent.
Yeah.
That dude makes me look young.
Yeah, and I mean Ochoa's probably going to be in the net because
Also agent.
Well, it's World Cup time, so Ochoa comes out of the cave where he lives in.
yeah.
So
So, anyways, I think Argentina steamrolls all three teams, and it's a toss-up between Mexico and Poland.
I think Mexico actually goes through, which is weird. But
Maybe Lewandowski pulls a lot of goals out of his hat in the group stage, and I mean, who else is pulling have? Matty Cash, and that's about it.
Yeah, this Polish team, I mean, I don't know. Poland's tough.
They got Buxa.
They do have Adam Buxa. Adam Buxa and Lua up top. Adam Buxa is a guy who most people don't know who he is, but after the tournament you might, because Lua's going to get so much attention in the box anytime he gets near, and if Buxa's let loose, he could score a couple.
I don't see him on the
He's
team.
not on the roster.
Damn it!
He's not going to score goals then.
Nice try.
He was on the roster.
He was
He
probably
was,
on their,
yeah. He scored goals in
30,
qualifying
40
too.
man list.
So dark horse for the Golden Boot winner and not Messi, Lautaro Martinez could have an absolute field day in this group.
Yeah.
I think he could score like 5 or 6 in the group stage.
Saudi Arabia got beat in 98 or 2002, 6 or 7-0 by Germany. It's where Klose had 4 goals against them in one game.
Right.
It padded his goals, even though he's still one of the best World Cup finishers
he
ever.
scored 5 goals in 3 different tournaments. So
yeah, no,
that's
he's.
pretty
I mean,
solid.
he's. I'm not saying anything against Miroslav Klose. He's a legend in the World Cup. But Saudi Arabia could have a really tough one here. But okay, we got Argentina and then Poland or Mexico. Really, the battle of who's worse out of those two. Let's go on to Group D. We have France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. This is the first time I think Tunisia's been in the World Cup for many minutes, if not the first time. This Denmark team is a sleeping giant, and they literally have a dude who was resurrected. They have a zombie player. Australia always looks so good in the group stage. They always have a banger from Tim Cahill, and then they never get through. And then France is the current holders. I think this group is actually going to be very competitive.
Is Tim Cahill the coach of the Australian national team now?
Is he?
He might be.
Oh, what vibes? See, I told you you're going to be vibes, John. Your favorite thing. So the question here is, Denmark, do they have a chance of winning the group? A lot of people, Alex Yapko is a huge Denmark pusher. He's like, dude, this team is so slept on. They just need an inch. They'll take a mile. Is there a way that they win the group? Jeff, you're saying maybe yes. Diego, you're shaking your head no. Jeff, why are they going to win the group?
Why are they going to win the group? I mean,
I said win the group, and you looked over and you shook your head like you were happy.
I mean, I think they're one of the most underrated teams in the league. I mean, in the World Cup.
Okay.
Underrated. Of the top teams,
you mean like a dark horse team,
like a dark horse team,
go really deep in the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that they'll win the group though? Excuse me.
Over France?
Yeah, or Tunisia.
It's going to be between France and Netherlands, Denmark. But it's you look at France's raw. It's too hard. It's too much.
Yeah, France, I say all the time, is so good that they won the 2018 World Cup, and they didn't take Benzema, who just won the Ballon d'Or. So that's how stacked
France
they
is
are.
so good. They're allowed 26-player roster, and they only took 25.
Sheesh. Who sat at home that they were like?
I don't know.
Kurt
They literally only named 25 to their roster.
Pick a Zuma. They couldn't take a
Zuma.
pick to cut it.
I mean, who are you playing in the back line of Lucas Hernandez, who starts at Bayern, Konate, who starts at Liverpool, Koundé, who starts at Barca, Saliba, who's maybe the best center back in the Premier League right now.
I think you could say he is the best.
Who starts at Bayern, and Varane, who starts at Manchester United.
Varane's injured, is he not?
Just start them all. Throw them all in there.
I think Varane will be back.
I think Varane's injured, right?
They took him, though.
They took him. The one
they
that
did.
Somebody just got hurt today. I'm going to butcher his name because I don't know how to say it. Christopher and Kunku.
Nkunku.
And Cuckoo, yeah.
He just got injured in training today, and he's
Did
heading
he?
home. Yeah.
Jesus, he was going to be big for them. This is going to be his breakout
knee
tournament.
injury.
So,
Ouch.
Germany in 2014, when y'all won, and I'll say y'all, Mr. Shimer, you guys had 4 center backs in the back, and it was kind of a gamble by, was it Yogi Low? But it worked out. You guys won the tournament. So,
you know who they're saying the biggest,
It didn't have
dark horse.
4 center backs in the back. Lam played as the right back.
no, Lom played in the middle of that tournament. Look it up.
Right
Jarrett, I think you'll appreciate
You don't
this.
believe me?
I think the kind of most underrated player come out of this group, who might be the most underrated player of the tournament, Mr. Meaty French Forehead, Olivier Giroud.
Do you think he's going to start? I mean, I guess he does.
No, I
No,
don't think he'll
he's
start.
absolutely not
But I think he's
gonna
going to bang in some goals.
They're going to have
He's a baller, dude.
It's going to be like,
Dembele,
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
I hope they play Griezmann because he is
and they'll put
so shiesty.
Benzema up top, right? Is that what we'll do?
They should.
If Benzema doesn't start up top, what the what the French doing, dude? I know the French
What
got
the
their own
French
thing.
are they
but
doing?
Gee, what the French are they doing? They'll French it up.
Mbappe, Griezmann, Dembele, Benzema, Coman, Giroud. They've got an embarrassment of
Yeah, that
people to
team is
choose from.
Stacked.
Who's going to anchor their midfield? Ganduzi? I don't know. That was a joke. Nobody laughed.
Well, I don't know. Without Conte, maybe it is.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. I don't like their defensive midfield options, to be honest.
Rabio?
Kamavinga
He's
is
more of an attacking
nasty,
player.
but he can't. I mean,
He's too young.
No, I don't think he's too young. I mean, dude, World Cups are where young players turn into ballers. Everyone's
true.
like, Mbappe's too young. No, won it. Ronaldo's too young. Done.
No, Mbappe
Pele
was an
was
absolute
17 when he won his first World Cup. The World Cup is the place
Too
for young
many.
players because of how
Too
close
many.
the games are together. You need guys you can run. That's where Landon Donovan came. Come on, man.
youngest player that I think has the best chance to win this World Cup is Pedri with Spain. I know that's in a few groups from
I
now,
think
but
isn't Gavi even younger than Pedri?
well, yeah, but I think Pedri's just a better player.
That's fair.
So I'm just saying, I think he's going to be breakout,
Like a
and
young player
he's
of the
got a
tournament?
really good chance
Yeah,
with
that's a
that
really good
team
call.
to win
Definitely.
this
I mean, I
tournament.
think Kamavinga in the middle is going to be fine. I think he is young, but I think he's been hanging around one of the best teams on the planet and been, he's literally been watching. Why can't I think of his name?
That's sort of my point. Like
German-
he doesn't start for them.
Kroos.
Tony Kroos
Cruz,
starts.
he's been just sitting around learning from Tony
Kroos
Cruz. I
and
think he's
Modric.
okay.
Modric and Casemiro up until this year were all starting and playing big minutes over him. He's the future of Real Madrid for sure, but I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I hate Rabio. I think he's a
He's a piece of
fraud.
work.
He's a bum.
So, okay,
He's
France is
a
going to win this
piece of
group. Denmark's probably going to go in second. Let's go to Group
All right.
E.
Yep.
Now we're here to the Pedri conversation. We have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japón. So Japan's not going through.
Neither is
I'll
Costa
say
Rica.
this, like,
So,
Costa Rica's not very good either. I mean,
I'm surprised Costa Rica.
I mean that's CONCACAF territory.
Yeah, but okay, let's well, first of all, don't dumb down the CONCACAF, right? Is that what you're doing? You
CONCACAF's
speaking ill?
so janky that we couldn't even have VAR in some of the games. All
Exactly.
right? Let's be
Exactly.
real.
Imagine if you didn't have VAR. I mean, you're bulletproof now. So I think Costa Rica was slept on in 2014.
Oh my God! If I have to hear another Costa Rica argument,
This is my first one of
the two
today.
teams they're going through are Spain and Germany. Let's be real.
So-
Let's be fucking real.
second
about
hardest
this.
group. Second
Second hardest group. So this is why.
Japan
2014.
is excellent.
Yes,
Everybody sleeps on Japan, but they are one of the most technical teams in the entire. They're like the Denmark.
They'll get some draws for sure.
That's all it takes.
3 draws, 3 points.
They could steal points off of
3 points.
I mean, they could beat Costa Rica.
Okay, they can get through on draws.
And then steal points off of either Spain or Germany, and then all of a sudden
go through on 4.
You're talking about a goal differential situation, and they could go through over one of those two teams. I love my German boys, but this is not their best team.
No,
I really enjoy watching Spain, but they're a little bit up and down. They had a really nice run in the Euros, but like they weren't playing great soccer the whole way through. So like it's a tournament. This is like bang bang bang. You know, if you're not in form and playing well, you can easily get beat.
2014, everyone slept on Costa Rica. Everyone always sleeps on CONCACAF. I need to just say that. Jeff, I know you roll your eyes. Apparently, you're European today. And in that, they had England and Italy in that group, and Costa Rica won that group. This is a similar situation where you have these two huge European teams, and they're going to sleep on Costa Rica especially. So I think be surprised. I think Spain goes through, and I'm going to argue Costa Rica just because it's going to get Jeff to sweat a little bit. Look at him, just
it's fine.
Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen.
I'm gonna stick with my prediction.
So this brings up a question I wanted to ask. If you think Spain goes through and Costa Rica goes through, Germany obviously doesn't. For you, John, who's the top 5 or 6 team that you think doesn't go through?
The top 5 or 6 team.
Who's a team everyone expects to go through that you think?
Who's a juggernaut that might not go through?
Yeah, because it always happens. There's always one out of the 8.
Yes.
Is that Germany?
No, I think, unfortunately, one of my favorite teams over the last 10 years, I think could be in for a really rude awakening.
Is that Portugal?
Nope.
Damn it.
Belgium.
Yeah, I was going to say Belgium.
All right, should we skip ahead to that group?
Group F. It's not skipping ahead. It's the next group.
Well, I don't feel like we've had law established on this group.
I think Germany and Spain will go through, but I think it could be very uncomfortable for one of those two teams. And I think somebody could win this group with 5 points. Like they could go 1-0-2 and win the group, and the second place team has 4 points.
That's probably really low. I think this is one of the toughest groups.
So like that, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get out of that group. I mean, Costa Rica, I think, is an aging team that was very fortunate to get in there. I mean, they basically were the best of the worst in CONCACAF. There was a lot of shit after Canada, US, and Mexico. And they were fortunate to get it back into the World Cup. This is not Costa Rica of 2014. Keylor Navas is hurt. Brian Ruiz looked like a dinosaur during.
He is a dinosaur. He's a CONCACAF legend.
He is a legend. I love him. But like, I mean, this is not Costa Rica of 8 years ago. This is the same guys that are 8 years older. That's a problem.
So here's the thing: when you have nothing to lose, you're dangerous.
And Germany, he's gonna keep arguing for Costa Rica. It's like.
Hey, I got to argue with the underdogs. All right, Sorry, Jeffrey.
It's not like your hill to die on. Costa Rica is not the hill to die on, my friend.
It is. I don't want. It is because you got the fucking the evil El Imperio está ahí. The empire's there, dude. Costa Rica's got a rep. All right. Where are we going? Let's go to Belgium. So you think, John? You think Belgium? Jeff, you seem to think so too. Is this the team?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll get through, but not in first. I think they'll get through in second.
Okay, who's coming in first over them?
I just think Croatia's going to squeak through in first.
In first?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
I love the Croats.
Modric, maybe player of the tournament, just like defies all odds. He's like 400 years.
All odds.
He's like 48.
He ran circles around everybody in the Champions League.
Yeah.
The dude
he's
is still
so good.
He's still one of the top for me, centers, 10s in the world. So, okay, so are we thinking?
I'm saying it's going to be Croatia, Belgium.
Going through?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna this is where I'm gonna stick my head in the sand and here's my hill that I'm gonna die on. So Canada is gonna get through. If Alphonso Davies is healthy, him and Buchanan on the other side will run these teams ragged. Absolutely run them into the ground. Now I don't know if Davies is hurt or if he's healthy. He came off I think early last week. Holding his hamstring, and if he's not playing for them, I reserve the right to change my mind. But
disclaimer.
Well, I mean, he's the best player. He's the best player in CONCACAF.
My mind.
He's the best player in CONCACAF right now. If he's not playing for that, if Pulisic wasn't playing for the U.S., I probably wouldn't say that the U.S.
I don't even know. Yeah. You're right. No, you're right. If he, I think Canada is an underrated team. They won the CONCACAF, and if they have Buchanan and Davies, I actually don't know players in Belgium and Croatia that can deal with them over 90 minutes. They're defenders. They're going to get roasted.
Buchanan is going to have a breakout tournament. People in the world don't know Buchanan.
I know.
He is killing it right now for
Bruges.
For Bruges. Yeah. They got through.
I know.
They're in the knockout round right now, and he's playing for them.
I know. He starts.
We saw him play a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we saw him play
in our lovely little Gillette Stadium.
So like when he left the Revs, easily the top loss that they've had of all the talent that's gone out the door in the last year over Matt Turner, over Buxa. The only other guy that is better than him is Carlos.
Carlos Heel, but he didn't leave.
But he's still on the team.
Yeah, he didn't leave. Jeff,
but
you seem to not agree with this.
I would say that Belgium are a strong squad minus probably their defenders, which is a problem for them.
Their defenders
the defenders are
ancient.
Jan Vertonghen, who's the other guy's Spurs guy? Alderweireld, who doesn't play. He plays in the Saudi league or something.
Toby's still playing?
Yeah, they're
projecting him to start.
They have Castagne, who's doesn't start in the Premier League. They have.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I think that if Buchanan and Davies are both healthy, they're just going to roast them.
But then you look at their other. They got De Bruyne, and they have Tielemans, and they have. One of the Hazards, it'll be Thorgan Hazard who probably starts over Eden Hazard because Eden Hazard hasn't played football. The
last time Eden Hazard played football was actually 2018.
But they have a player who could break out, and that's Trossard. I think he from Brighton, and I think he could end up going to a big top 6 club in the next, even in January.
Brighton is a top 6 club.
You know what I'm saying? Traditional top 6.
Damn.
All right, so
but if you look at their play, they have good players. They're from top to bottom, they're better than Canada, on paper. But I hear what you're saying. I can respect what you're saying.
This Canadian team defended really well as a team. I was very impressed.
Yeah, in CONCACAF.
Diego, do you?
I mean,
do you think Canada can go over, or do you think Canada can get in?
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up between them and Croatia. Croatia, I think their defenders are old as well. So I think Belgium gets through without an issue. I do think Canada and Croatia give them a run for their money, but I think Belgium gets through in first. And then, Canada and Croatia they're definitely going to both beat up on Morocco. And then it'll be a matter of who wins that game between the two of them.
I just don't think. I think Canada is going to get through if, like I said, if Davies and Buchanan are healthy, and I don't know if it's going to be Belgium or Croatia, but that's knocked out. I will predict that Belgium doesn't get through.
You're going to go Canada, Croatia.
Canada, Croatia. It's kind of almost breaks my heart because I think De Bruyne is my favorite player of this generation. You guys know how much I love him.
I had no idea.
I feel like he's deserving and should win a major trophy at some point soon here in his career. Been a little snake bitten by some pep tactics in the Champions League the last couple of years.
Are you saying the Premier League isn't a big trophy?
It's not a continental trophy. I'll say that.
You're right, because they left the Brexit. Is that what you're referring to?
It's also many would consider it a farmers league. It is a farmers
league. It is a farmers league now. Okay. All right. Should we let's mosey on to Group G. Brazil. I've never heard of them. Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Geesh. This is
the group of death statistically.
Love this group.
What do you love about it?
Serbia, I think, is my dark horse team.
Is Serbia just basically Dynamo Zagreb? Is that basically their team? Is that just their team?
Serbia,
I'm kind of confused about what Serbians are all about.
Is not just Dynamo Zagreb. They have Mitrovic and they have I can't pronounce his last name.
Vlahovic. Yeah.
Up top, and those guys are animals. And Jovic hasn't played well for Real Madrid, but
he's a beast too.
He's a beast as well.
Ballers in this team.
This is my dark horse team to make a Croatian-like run in the World Cup. They are awesome.
So you got Brazil and Serbia coming out of there then?
I do.
Mitrovic. Wow, yeah, this team's legit. These guys just look mean too. These guys just look hard men. It's like a hard men.
They're a bunch of miners. What do you mean?
They just look like they just can just.
They look
beat
like
the shit out of you.
They work on oil rigs.
Yeah,
getting all that
these
money
guys
for
are very strong.
Is it
Newcastle.
like what's it?
These
Bruce
are strong
Willis
men.
and Armageddon.
They've seen things. These guys have seen things.
I don't even know what to say to you, Jeffrey.
Brazil definitely goes through.
Oh, for sure.
And I think in the group stages, they're going to flex their offense
I think they're going to run up scores in some teams.
big time.
This
But they are susceptible in the back. They have 2 or 3 of the best goalkeepers in the world. But their defenders are definitely on the older side.
Well, I think it's skewed with the fact that Dani Alves is 45.
Yeah, he brings
All
the
right, so
average.
Thiago-
he brings the
Thiago's a
average
great
up.
defender, but
Thiago's
he's
38, so yeah. Thiago's going to start too. I
Yeah.
think he and Marquinhos start.
I was telling Jeff this earlier. Their midfield,
Jeff's
their
face right now, Dad.
their projected starting midfield is Casemiro, Fred, and Paqueta.
wrong. Guimaros is going to play.
Who? Oh, you think so?
The guy from
Guimaras.
Newcastle
hmm He's probably their
over
best.
Casemiro.
He's
probably.
probably their
Over
best
Paqueta.
midfielder right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you that he's their best.
I don't think Casemiro is
I'm
very
just
good.
saying that's their projected
If you
starting
watch a
11.
United game, watch Casemiro play. The guy gives the ball away way too much in the middle of the field.
Right, but this isn't United.
I know, but he's not good. Like he's not good.
I mean,
You don't like
he is,
Guimaras?
he is
No,
good.
Casemiro.
Oh, Casemiro.
Yeah.
Okay. So what they need from him is a guy that just breaks up the play. They don't need a guy that's going to be making the game for them in that position, which is why he is going to play. He's still their best holding center midfielder.
So they're going to play with 2, Fred and Casemiro holding.
I don't think Fred will play.
Fred. I don't think Fred's gonna play.
I'm
I mean,
surprised Fabinho. It's not Fabinho, Casemiro, and then somebody else. Those 2 to me are fundamental in the midfield.
I like Fabinho a lot. I don't think he'll play. I think Paqueta and Guimaras are a lock to play for them, and then
Really?
I think Casemiro sits behind them.
Who's supposed to be forward for them, Diego? From what you see,
Gabriel Jesus up front with Neymar and Rafinha. I think Neymar is playing just behind Gabriel. And Rafinha and Vinicius on the wings.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
last thing I saw.
Are they talking about a 4-4-2 then, like a diamond midfield?
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
you named one extra player. I mean, Brazil might play with an extra player. They're that good, I guess.
I
but-
will give me a sec here.
So, I mean, if I was picking my preferred team for Brazil right now, I would put Alisson in goal. I would put Alexandro on the left side. I would put Militao and Marquinhos in the back. And then I would put Danilo on the right side, and let Dani Alves sit on the bench. And then I would still put Casemiro on there. I think he's their best 6 to do what they need. They need somebody that just breaks up play on counterattacks and puts in fouls and is hard. They don't need, like I said, they don't need a guy to do anything else besides that. And then I would put Guimaras and Paqueta together. And then up top, I would have Vinicius on one side, and I would have Neymar on the other side, and then I would have Jesus as my 9.
I mean, that's
And then you have anybody that you want coming off the bench.
Yeah, you can swap it. Any Rafinha could come in for Neymar or not Neymar probably, but
Rodrigo can come on.
Rodrigo
Rafinha,
I think is one of their best players.
Anthony.
I hope he gets time.
Martinelli can come on, and I mean it's they could play 2 different lineups and start 2 different lineups in 2 different
Charleston's
games.
on the team too. He's healthy
Charles on
again.
the team. Yeah, I mean, if they get 6 points from their first 2 games, and they're going to go
They'll
through.
put Anthony in to do 360s the rest of the time.
I actually hope he gets in just to do that because the crowd's going to
He's
love it.
injured, though.
Everyone else
He's
is going to
injured.
love
He's got
it.
a knock. I don't know how healthy he is.
He
But
did.
Yeah, I
Anthony?
mean,
He hasn't been playing.
he hasn't been playing the last couple
games.
games, not just from getting
So,
benched.
Hugo comes in second. We were saying Serbia.
Are we sleeping on Switzerland here? Switzerland have done well in
No,
major
I mean,
tournaments the last couple of
Switzerland
years.
done well in the Euros, and
And
they've got
I don't
Xhaka.
think
He's
Shaqiri's still playing.
He
Shaqiri's
is.
still playing. Oh, he's still in
Jan
team.
Sommer.
Oh my God, he's my
Akanji,
favorite player.
Fabian
The human
Schär.
cube.
Um,
Also, we're sleeping on Africa here. We're sleeping on Cameroon.
Shaqiri, Granit Xhaka. Yeah, they have pretty decent defenders and midfielders.
It's a hard group. It's going to be a fun group.
I don't recognize a single one of their forwards, to be honest with you, for Switzerland. So that could be a problem for them.
Could be an issue for scoring, for the scoring times.
That could be an issue. Doesn't mean none of them are capable, but yeah, definitely Brazil, and then most likely Serbia for me.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I'd go with that too. I just think that Switzerland are going to have something to say, and I don't think Cameroon's going to take any of this lying down. It's also that when you have a tournament that's not played in Europe or South America, weird things happen. Normally when they're played in Europe, Europeans always win. There's only one thing that's gone against that. Brazil, I think, in 58 maybe. And then Germany winning in 2014 was the first time a European team won on the American soil. So when we had in Africa in 2002, when we had in Korea, Japan, different things happen. So the fact that it's in Qatar means it's kind of open for anyone. There's not like, quote, home field advantage. So I do think teams like Cameroon might surprise, especially in this group that's going to be super tight. I think Brazil get 9 points, but I think the second is going to come down to goal differential, probably on 4 points. Let's go to Group H. Oh my God, there's so many groups. This group, to me, if I just look at it quick glance, is the group I'd least want to be in. Portugal, because they always qualify late. They always get put in a group of death. Ghana, Uruguay, which could be another dark horse team because they're loaded up top. And then South Korea. So, Jeff, what do you think on this group? Who are your teams that are getting out?
Uruguay, for sure.
Okay.
I think they're getting out.
And do you think Ronaldo's getting out?
Yeah, I mean, I it's not because of Ronaldo, because I think they have just a solid team.
Your
That's
boy
enough.
Bentancur's out there.
Yeah, I mean, Bentancur's playing well, but they also have Nunez and who else? Suarez.
Yeah.
And
Suarez is still there.
Cavani and
Valverde.
Yep, Valverde.
Valverde is one of the best midfielders right now in the world, pound for pound.
Yeah, Uruguay, I don't think they're going to win the World Cup. But
do you think they win this league? Excuse me, I keep saying this league. Do you think they win this group?
I think they do win the group. I think they win the group with like 7 points, 2 wins and a draw. And I think oh God.
You think they draw against Portugal?
Yeah, I think they draw against Portugal. I think they beat Ghana and Korea. Korea's tough. I don't know if Son's going to play those first couple games and if he's in form enough to get them to bang in like a free kick goal or like get them through. But they have some Kim Jae, or whatever his name. I think if they make it through if they maybe make it through the group that he plays in the next that knockout game. But yeah, I can't see it being Korea. So I'm just gonna go Uruguay and Portugal. That's probably the safe bet to make. But
Portugal's got a lot of great players. I think not having Jota is painful for them, but they still have a ridiculous amount of talent.
They didn't even bring Renato Sanchez. It was in form.
Renato Sanchez is a beast. Still one of my favorite players in Europe.
I think another young player that could shine is from Portugal, and that's Nuno Mendes. Between him, Diaz, Cancelo, Danilo Pereira, they are going to be feeding those forwards like crazy.
I mean, my biggest question is, does Rafael Leão does he play much? I will be perfectly honest. I haven't seen him play a single minute for AC Milan, but he was supposedly like the best player, the best forward in Italy last year, who got back to winning leagues, and he's been a beast.
He's like the number one rumored player to go to a European club, like a big European club, specifically the Premier League in January. Like he's that good. Like they want him.
Right.
So and their midfield is absurd too. Palhinha, Neves, Bernardo Silva, Fernandes. As much as I hate him, he's effective. Yeah. Their midfield is. I guess it doesn't matter who's playing up front when you have all those defenders and those midfielders feeding you. If it's
they have
João
the best
Felix,
outside back
Ronaldo
in the world that could play on either side. They have arguably one of the top 3 center backs in the world on their team. I still think Rui Patricia is
super serviceable.
Is a class goalkeeper.
This is one of the best teams back to front Just from if you look at the overall balance of the team.
Yep.
I think it's one of the best teams. I don't know if that
awesome.
means that they go through, but it's like, or that they probably go through, but I don't know what they're going to do around a
They
16.
have a big problem though.
They do have a huge problem.
They have the
Ronaldo.
biggest problem.
They have
Ronaldo.
and
That's the biggest problem.
the guys weren't even looking at him today in the training sessions.
They-
And he went up and grabbed people's faces, and Cancelo still wouldn't even look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a massive issue.
That's some rough timing for him to do this Piers Morgan thing.
It was brutal.
I can't believe he did the Piers Morgan thing. Piers Morgan in general is Fox News of Europe. Like, he's brutal. And so to sit down with him in general, I think already speaks a lot. But then to say what he said, just say, like, you could say that right after the World Cup.
Definitely.
Say it right after the World Cup. You'll still get out in January. Some other team will pick you up, whatever, like the beat goes on. But he's supposed to be trying to win. This is his last World Cup.
This is a great chance for him to win the World Cup. This team is so good.
Whether it's his best chance, it's his last chance. Therefore,
It's
it is
definitely
his
his
best
last
chance. So it just seems so weird. And he's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be a GOAT. He's supposed to be a captain. He's supposed to be someone that everyone looks up to. He's the Kobe of Portugal.
He has been that guy. Like, for most of his career, he's had some petulance here and there. Like, at the end of his time at Real Madrid, he had a little bit of petulance there. And it's from there on, I guess I would say he's had some issues at Juventus. And,
Yeah, at
and
Juventus, he
certainly
wanted to leave like very quickly, and they were like, eh.
Yeah, and certainly at Manchester United. I mean, I do feel I've said this to you guys on your board on social media that Ten Hag deserves a crap ton of blame in this situation. He knew that he wanted to go. He knew that he was never going to accept being a bit part player, and he should have just let him go. There was no reason to keep him. Ten Hag is building something there at Man U that is going to be special. Like, I think he's doing a really good job with a group that has had massive issues since Ferguson has left. He's finally got control over the sporting decisions that are going on there. He was able to get his top 2 targets in the summer. He didn't need Ronaldo to do anything this year. He should have just let him go.
I'm surprised he didn't just let him go just to balance the books. Not even because of Ronaldo, just saying, hey, we're bringing in these guys, we're spending this money, we need to have some revenue coming in. So, but regardless of that, John, how do you think he does this tournament?
I don't know. Like, this is so explosive. Like, chemistry is clearly an issue. Like, this is something that will upset the apple cart. Like, this is all the cliches. I don't know if they play him now. To be honest, I don't know if they play him. And I don't know if they should play him.
I've only seen snippets of the Piers Morgan, but did he say something against Fernandez or against Portugal?
No.
Okay. It was just against Man United and the entire Glazers and Ten Hag.
Glazers, Man United, Ten Hag.
Okay, and the club. Because I read
Basically
all
saying
the
they don't
comments.
respect me, I don't respect him.
Yeah.
They all want me out, not just Ten Hag. Everybody wants me out. Everybody in the organization. Not just this year, last year too. They haven't wanted me here since I came back.
He was really upset about this summer. He has a newborn daughter who had some complications or something right after birth and was sick. And so, like he was saying, like, nobody believed me that I was taking care of family issues. So that really hurt and burned, essentially burned me. And so I could understand feeling upset about that. I could understand him being also really upset about the fact that he basically, you guys talked about this last year. They could have been in a relegation battle without him last year. He scored 20 goals for them last year, and they struggled to score last year.
I believe the term was Ronaldo vibes.
It was. I mean, but that's not a knock on Ronaldo. That's just like their team was not good.
They were horrible.
Yeah.
And he went further. He said, Man U has such a closed mindset, the club. He started knocking them for not updating the club, updating the clubhouse, updating the stadium.
He said
it's still the same pool. It's still the same training room.
Since he left in
like
2009.
all this money coming into this club, and they haven't made any changes since.
So I don't think he's wrong, though. United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. And if you look at what Real Madrid has done, since he got
right
there,
across the city.
Yeah, but
and
like
the irony is that Man U the Glazers claimed to keep him because of how marketable he is. And now look at what he's doing to them.
Yeah, it just seems really weird. But I don't think he's wrong. It is skewed, though, because he went to Real Madrid, which has the most money or just spends ungodly amounts of money. Galacticos, this, that, and the other.
They haven't
Paris doesn't
recently.
give a shit. He'll spend money. He doesn't care. And then he went to Juventus, which literally was the center of the scandal having to do with like payoffs and stuff. So they also don't really have a budget. So I think it was kind of skewed, but I do think United need to invest because what has Spurs done? $1 billion stadium. What has City done? God only knows. What is Newcastle doing? What did the Fenway Group when they bought Liverpool? I think they bought their stake for like $350 million. Yep. Now it's worth $4.2 billion. All these other clubs are growing, not to mention Chelsea just got a new $1 billion owner who's splashing cash and is already talking about redoing the stadium.
And by January, Liverpool might have the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think Ronaldo's that far off. He's just saying things that maybe people don't want to hear.
So in addition to him throwing that grenade in the locker room basically right before the World Cup, their other problem is if they don't finish first in front of Uruguay, and they finish in second, they're going up against Brazil in the knockout rounds. And that's, I mean, good luck.
Yeah, it's game over.
That game was also going to suck to watch because Portugal's going to pack it in and Brazil's just going to attack. And that's not even saying Brazil wins that game. I've seen Portugal after the 2016, I lost money in that fucking tournament. They tied every single game and won most of the games with PKs or overtime. Somehow still pulled it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, Portugal does have some of the best defenders in the world, but they're some of the best attacking defenders in the world.
Yeah.
The second you put Brazil on them,
Guerrero is going to start on one side, and Cancelo is going to start on the other side. Diaz will be at home. I don't know who their other center back is going to be.
Probably Pepe.
I don't know.
I'm doing it. I'm
I know he's on the roster.
If Brazil are starting Thiago Silva, I'm just saying. Colombia started Yepes in 2014. He was 38. He made it.
So I said earlier that
lost.
I hate Italy the most, and then Brazil and Mexico. Above Italy is Pepe.
Just Pepe.
He is one of the worst.
As a sovereign nation,
yes,
Pepe.
He is one of the worst human beings in the world.
He really is
Oh,
a piece of
that
absolute
is so
trash.
fire. I love that.
I hate Pepe more than I hate Italy. More than I hate.
Me too. You know what? He
awful.
also looks like Red Skull out of. So he's like got like Red Skull vibes. If you get that Marvel reference.
Oh, that is so good.
I think we're all like pretty much in agreement that we're glad Italy's not in the tournament, though.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
so
yeah,
great.
that's too bad.
It's so great.
Yeah, I'm really broke
you
up
don't have
about
to
it.
watch that team just pack it in, park the bus every game. Oh, that
I
team's brutal to watch
will
again.
say though, in 2018 they were very exciting to watch. They attacked.
Okay.
And sorry, no, it was my bad. Excuse me. The 2020 Euro that happened in
Euros.
2021.
Yeah.
They actually like were super fluid. And
Yeah.
since that, they've
they're
just
bad.
fallen apart
They're
again.
so bad.
So one of the other assistant coaches at Boston College, who is Italian, his mom came over and is an immigrant from Italy, and his dad is one generation here into the U.S. He's lived in Italy for parts of his life. It was funny to hear him walk in the days after all that happened. Italy didn't even lose a game in qualification. What the hell? Blah, 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 blah. So he was so pissed. I don't know if you guys realize they went through one of those situations where they either won or tied most of they didn't lose in the qualification.
They can't score goals.
They just didn't score goals.
It's too bad they can't join this World Cup. That's really too
I
bad.
know. Turns out you
That
got
is
to
just too
score
bad.
goals to win football games.
Diving doesn't count for points.
Yeah, diving doesn't get you goals.
Come on.
Hand gestures though.
Hand gestures.
So, what's next? You got something? You got something coming up?
No.
What you got?
I was gonna say, who's your pick?
Oh, to win the
Who's your
whole
pick
damn
to
thing.
win the tournament?
I
Pick to win the tournament and your golden boot.
Oh, golden boot. All right. So I
And
did
your
fill
golden
it.
glove.
I did fill out a bracket. I did fill out the betting bracket, and I no matter which way I diced it, I had Argentina winning.
Are you trying to say you were trying to make them not win and then they just kept popping up?
I
Just
kept
kept
playing the
rearing.
scenario.
Just
I kept
kept
playing the
rearing.
scenarios out. I kept
Damn
crunching
it.
the numbers. And so Argentina, and then golden boot. Oh boy, it's Martinez maybe Arturo Martinez.
That's a good one.
That's a really solid
I'm just gonna
one.
go straight like the winner and the
That's
the
not
team
a
he's
bad
on.
I mean,
look.
it makes sense because
yeah,
most
you
games
gotta
play
bang
goals,
goals,
you
etc.
play 7 games.
Yeah.
Diego, who's yours?
Argentina also. I don't think that's any mystery. Messi.
For those of you, for those of you, let me build. This is an audio
Mystery.
podcast. Diego came early and hung up like 16 Messi jerseys around the studio.
Just for John.
Check, just for John, because John loves Messi. Check IG for the video.
John does like a lot of the jerseys, for the record.
He did. He was impressed by all the.
They're good jerseys. I'm a jersey collector. I love the jerseys.
Argentina, and I do think Martinez has a really good chance at it, only because people are going to be zeroing in on Messi.
Yeah,
and he's going to be taking 2-3 midfielders, defenders with him, and it's going to open up so much room for Martinez or Dybala if he's playing, Di Maria, everybody. So I think Martinez has a pretty good shot at it.
I said on Boys and Bowls a while back that I think Argentina is going to win. I'm just so impressed after they won Copa America. I thought that was awesome. And then they just look good. They just haven't lost a lot of games. And for the first time since Messi's been Messi, so the first time since 2010, they actually have like a goalie. They actually have decent defenders. They actually have... He doesn't have to do all the work on the team.
yeah. I mean, all
there
their
are other
players,
people that
all
can
their
like...
players have been faking injuries in their domestic leagues.
The only thing that's
Exactly. They've been
to get them
faking pink
healthy.
guys so they can
Yeah.
show up for this.
The only thing I
exactly.
don't like is that they're on a 35-game unbeaten streak right now,
I know.
and
You don't want to go to a major tournament like that.
I hate streaks like that.
I hope they
because
play Enzo Otamendi.
Are they going to?
I think they're going to, which I hate.
Which is
but maybe
crazy.
he's got better in the Portuguese league. Because he honestly was the reason why
He's
I
on
thought they
Benfica,
lost
right?
2014.
He's on Benfica. Is that right?
Yes.
Still.
Yes.
Benfica or Sporting?
Benfica.
He's on Benfica. He is brutal, but I think that they're going to figure it out. I think Romero really helps them. I think actually having a goalie helps. In 2018, they had Willie Caballero, Chelsea's third goalkeeper. Straight vibes, no skill. So the fact that they have Martinez, who I actually trust, with like maybe my life in his hands, I think, I don't know. This seems like it's Messi's tournament. EA Sports has also picked picked Argentina to win. EA Sports also put the United States in the final 8
Yep.
in quarters, which is the highest we've ever
They
gone
had
in the
Pulisic
modern
with
tournament.
5 goals in this tournament.
And 5 assists.
Uh,
Yeah. So it's...
And they've predicted it correctly the past 2 World Cups. Is that right?
yes.
I just can't see them scoring 10 goals.
2010, 2014, and 2018.
The U.S. scoring 10 goals.
And it would be
I don't know.
No, it's
I
over
don't
5
see that.
games. It's over 5 games.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
over
I
5
just don't see them
games,
scoring 10
and we
goals.
got
They
to
don't have
play
a number 9.
Iran, and we got to play Wales.
I was going to say this.
score
They don't
goals
have a
there.
number 9. U.S. has number 9.
But we have Vibes and Aronson.
It would be serendipitous because the World Cup final would be Messi's 1,000th game.
I know. I saw that
John,
stat.
what's your
I'm
prediction?
already crying.
Let's get to John's
Tears of
prediction.
joy.
It's
Yes, so
not,
John,
it's not Argentina.
It's not
so
Argentina.
let's-
We know it couldn't be Argentina.
I feel like we should have predicted a Final Four and not necessarily.
No, I just go
the
straight to
winner.
the winner. We've already been on this thing for a long time.
This is the most international soccer Jeff's ever had in his life. So,
I mean, Jeff,
I'm going to watch the games.
Wow, that's a
huge change.
that is a
It
big-
used to be like I would never watch it. By the end of the tournament, he's gonna have a Messi tattoo on his ass.
Not only did
I was boycotting before, right?
I was gonna say, I believe I heard you say several times this year on the podcast earlier that number 1, you don't like international football, and then number 2, it's Qatar and you can't believe it, so you're just gonna protest that.
No, no, no.
John, give us a Final Four. Give us a quick Final Four.
Yeah, let's hear John Shimer's Final Four.
This tournament is this year so awesome because I don't think there is one clear-cut 2002 Brazil, one clear-cut 2010 Spain team that just like goes into it as the massive front runners. I think there's 4 or 5 teams that are all really on equal footing. I think for my Final Four, I saw somebody put out Portugal, Brazil on one side, and then France and Argentina on the other side. I didn't see where England fit into that mix, and I think they should be a Final Four contender again for this tournament because I as much as you guys hate Gareth Southgate, he gets the job done. But I do think that Portugal, Brazil, France, Argentina Final Four is pretty spot on. I think that Brazil knocks off Portugal. I think that France knocks off Argentina. I just don't think Argentina is disciplined and good enough to beat a really, really. I mean, this French team is an all-time team. I don't think they're good enough to beat them, which sets up for, I think, an absolutely exhilarating final. And I think it's Brazil's year. So I would pick Brazil. I think this Brazilian team has the pieces. I don't think they have a weakness in their team if they don't play Dani Alves at right back.
If they don't start Fred.
I think it's an absolutely loaded team from front to back.
Well, John, this is good. And I give a little bit when you said Gary Southgate being functional. Because I forget that you are a coach, and at the end of the day, not losing is really more important than anything else. And he can do that. He can figure out a way to get this team through tournaments. I will say the happy thing I'm most happy about is I think we're in agreement, and most pundits are in agreement, that's going to be Brazil or Argentina as the top two teams, which is great because the last time a South American team won was literally 20 years ago in 2002. And it's about damn time because the Europeans have been catching up and they've been getting better at this game. So there's that. Jeff, you said Lautaro Martinez? Diego, you said Martinez as well? I'd have to think. I mean, I think Mbappe is still an option, depending on how France does. That dude's just so freaking fast.
He should finally do something. But you know what? He's been such a mental, I don't think it's fair to say mental midget, but he's been in his own universe over the last, I would say, 2 years with all his ongoings at PSG. And even in the last Euro. I think he has had too many people yes-menning him.
Well, for sure. I mean, PSG basically said you can decide on the coach, you can
You're
decide on the players.
You got an entire club.
You're the owner. You're the owner.
You are the
pick.
marionette. You know, this
That's
is you
not
can do
good.
He's also only 22, right?
Yeah,
Or 23.
that's not good. Like,
so silly.
They have started finally playing well again, but what was it, a month ago that he was saying he wanted to leave in January? Like,
I feel like he says he wants to leave like once a month. And
the other thing is, I can't tell if he says he wants to leave or L'Equipe has nothing else to do because France is boring and they're like, Mbappe wants to leave. Mbappe wants to leave. Mbappe. And then it's just like tweets.
Maybe.
So, but I'm going to Argentina and then maybe Mbappe. To balance it out, I think Lautaro Martinez is another player.
I mentioned Martinez earlier. I think he has a great shot at it.
So Brazil winning and maybe Martinez a golden ball.
I think so.
Golden boot. Golden boot.
I predicted in the last World Cup that Jesus was going to be the Golden Boot winner. I thought he had a great chance then, and then he hit like an absolute rut of bad form. Now, he hasn't scored goals for Arsenal right now, but I think all the services he's going to get in this tournament are going to be there for him again, and I think he's going to find a way to bag like 7 goals in this tournament, maybe 8.
Messi's also Golden Boot candidate because
definitely
Argentina will likely play a lot of games, all 7, either there in the consolation, and he takes PKs. So there's that.
Not very well.
Fun fact: Brazil has not won a major tournament with Neymar playing.
Shush.
I mean, there's a solid chance that if England make a run and they get to the semifinals or the finals, that Kane wins it.
Definitely,
because he takes penalties too.
Kane's actually. Kane and Benzema are the 2 best 9s. I'll throw Lewandowski in there, but he doesn't have the team that Kane and
best
Benzema
9s have a real chance to play.
Yeah. But hey, we've been at this.
Kane's going to play literally every minute of every game.
I think the World Cup starts tomorrow.
The World Cup starts so this may be the last pod we do for a while. We're not going to do pods throughout the World Cup.
Maybe the last pod we do ever.
Might be the last pod we do ever.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to boycott the World Cup. We may or may not make content on social media, but we're going to stop the podcast for a while. So hope you enjoy this. Maybe, I guess we don't need to do the brackets because we just picked our winners and stuff. But John, Diego, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Any final words before the World Cup? Words of inspiration? A quote?
From me?
A prayer?
I will cry tears of joy if Messi wins a World Cup.
I'll cry. For sure.
I am a grown-ass man, and I will tell you that right now.
I cried in 2014
I'll be happy
when he
for
lost.
him. I'll be happy for the guy.
Jeff, you're going to get a tattoo.
Oh, yeah, the tattoo.
Just says Dios.
What color? What number should I get, though? The 10 or should I get the 30?
You'll get all the you'll get the date. 12, 18, 22.
And it's just his face, too.
12, 18, 22, yeah. Leo.
I'll say one last thing. So Hugo Lloris said a bunch of really French things.
Was he speaking French?
Oui.
The other day that like basically like acquiescing to like the moment or whatever. He did say one other thing that I do agree with. We've had over 10 years to know that this tournament was going to happen in Qatar, and everybody has said it's a disaster for so many different levels. But the players deserve the moment still. Like, this only comes around once every 4 years. Like, everybody in this room, football is our favorite probably entertainment out of anything, realistically. So this is the biggest tournament. This is the biggest athletic sporting event in the world, and it only happens once every 40 years. I'm going to fucking enjoy it. Yep. There's a lot of great teams. I'm going to really fucking enjoy it. There's 5 teams that I think have a real legitimate chance: England, Portugal, Brazil, Argentina, France. I think all 5 of those teams could win it. Spain's good. I don't think they're quite there, but I'm so excited about this tournament. I'm going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid thing. I think about this, and I was talking to my dad about this the other day, that like the same way I think about the U.S. war machine, as it were. I don't support any of the wars, but I'll support the troops. And so I kind of support the players because I know that this is huge moments, and for Leo, it's the moment, and everyone knows it. But I do hope that after this tournament, FIFA make changes. And if they don't make changes, the football federations decide that they're going to do boycotts or whatever needs to get done. 2026 will be in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. But the one after that, it shouldn't be bought. South Africa was bought. This is known information. Russia was bought by basically the Russians to sports wash what they do, and Qatar was also bought. So hopefully the one in 2030 isn't bought, and that's my biggest hope, but we'll see.
Well, thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Adios.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.